Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today, we're going to look at, the taroscopes for the sign of Aries. That's Aries Sun, Aries Moon, Aries Rising for the month of February 2024. February promises to be quite an energetic month and a month that's going to, February, well, moves quickly. I mean, February always moves quickly because it's a shorter month, although we do get an extra day because it's leap year. However, I don't know if you're going to even notice the extra day because it's going to go fly by. One of the reasons for that is that the last planet that was retrograde has gone direct. That was Uranus. That happened at the end of January. So all the planets now are moving direct. There is a point in the year where that happens. This is that point. And it's going to move fast for that reason, plus the fact that we're now in Aquarius. And back in January, the sun moved into Aquarius. And then a couple hours later, Pluto joined Sun in Aquarius. Now we have, as the month begins, we have a number of planets in Capricorn about ready to move into Aquarius, and that's part of the story of the month for all of us. But let's take a look. Excuse me. Let's just take a look at your astrology. If you're not that interested in astrology and you just came on to get the tarot part of the taroscope, it is time-stamped below, so you can go right to the reading at the end. I probably spend more time with the astrology because there's usually more to say. Not always a lot to say, but this month there's quite a bit to say. And so you can just jump to the reading if that's what you prefer. All right, let's get started here. Alrighty, righty. Here we go. All right, so we are doing Aries. Let's go to Aries. Ta-da! Aries, mutable, cardinal fire. I'm on fire. That's Aries. Your mantra, I am. Yes, you are, Aries. You certainly are. Cardinal fire, cardinal signs initiate. And as anybody who knows an Aries, they initiate all kinds of things. They don't always finish all kinds of things, but they do initiate things. And in in honor of Aries, that's really what you're here to do. So don't beat yourself up if you start stuff and don't finish it. Let your wife beat you up. No, just kidding. I'm married to an Aries. It does take a little effort on my part to get him to finally get around to finishing things. Um, but they do finish things. They can't. It's possible. So don't lose don't lose sleep, Aries. All right. So your ruling planet is Mars, and Mars does actually start the month in Cap, move into Aquarius, and conjoin Pluto. And Mars and Pluto only get together every 2 years, and it starts a synodic cycle that's connected to our evolution on planet Earth. So it's an important cycle, and we'll talk about it when we get to it. Um, the fact that all the planets are moving forward is happy for Aries because Aries does not like to dawdle. And I'll give you an example of Aries, and I get these example because I wouldn't known this if I had never lived with an Aries, but I've been married to my husband for 22 years now, or probably going on 23 maybe. And if I say to him, Michael, can you go to the store and get like this, that, and the other, or he has to go somewhere. He says, oh, I got to take the car. I'm going to go somewhere. And then I remember at the last minute that there was something else that he needed to do, or that could you get me this at the store, whatever it happens to be. If he's pulling out of the driveway, he never looks back. Like he never looks in the rearview mirror. He never when I go places, I always like check in the rearview mirror. I always want to know what's happening sort of behind me before I go into the world. But he just goes straight. So if I don't jump in front of the car, he doesn't see me. And I have many times been yelling and screaming his name and waving my hands, Michael, Michael, Michael. And of course, he also has the music really loud, which I don't do because I learned in class when I learned how to drive, you should never put the music up loud when you're pulling out of anything in case you run somebody over, you'll know it. Anyway, I grew up in New Jersey. I think it's a little different down there. Okay, let's let's keep going before I get myself in more trouble. So this is just a diagram of what's happening as far as the year for Aries. If you're interested in that, just a year sort of look ahead with the astrology, there is an Aries 2024 video on my website. So I mean on my YouTube channel, you can check that out. It's about 20 minutes long. It's not too long. Um, but Mars does move from this year. It moves through quite a bit of the chart, and it does actually go retrograde in December in the sign of Leo, and it backs up back into Cancer. But we don't really have to discuss that or worry about that because believe me, there's plenty to talk about for this month, and there's plenty that's going to happen between now and then. All right. Excuse me. I just want to point out that we're in an 8 vibration year. The 8 in the tarot is the strength card. The strength card is Leo. And so Leo is highlighted for everybody. And for you, it's your house of creative self-expression. So this can be a very creative year for you. Very, very creative year. All right, let's get into the astrology specifically for you, specifically for February. Now, as you probably see here, there's a lot of yellow. So when you're looking at these diagrams that I put out, the blue is the water, the red is the fire, the yellow is the air, and the green is the earth. And so it's sort of color coded in that way. But we start, excuse me, with Mercury making a waning sextile to Neptune. Now, sextiles open the lines of communication. They're very mentally stimulating. Sextiles can open the lines of communication so you can seek out information, or it can help you to express what you know. And this is that kind of sextile. It's an Aquarius side sextile. It has the energy of what you know and sharing it with others. Now, the interesting thing about this sextile is it is sextiling Neptune, which is the energy of spirit. It's the energy of divinity, unity consciousness, right? We are all one. It's kind of like talking to spirit. And Mercury, of course, is the planet of communication. So we start the month with spirit speaking to us. Now, because the personal planets, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all in the latter degrees of Capricorn, they're going to make this sextile. In fact, the first week we have Mercury make the sextile. The second week we have Mars make the sextile. Now, Mercury is sort of an opening of the mind to spirit, and Mars is allowing spirit to take action through you. All of these sextiles have the energy of Aquarius. So it's about raising all boats. It's about humanitarian endeavor. It's about helping each other. Okay. And then we have Venus do the same thing on the third week. So February 2nd, Mercury sextile Neptune. February 7th, Mars sextile Neptune. And lastly, February 13th, Venus sextiles Neptune. So all of these green planets make sextiles to Neptune here with the blue. Okay, you see that? And then they're all going to move into, all this green is going to move into Aquarius, where we can see we have a green Mercury and a yellow Mercury. We have a green Mars and a yellow Mars. We have a green and a yellow. So we see that that's how you can read this chart. All right. So on the 5th, week 2, on the 5th of February, Mercury, the first one in to Aquarius and conjuncting Pluto. This is the first degree of Aquarius, an old Adobe mission in California is the symbol, and it really speaks to us of uh, as an example of the things that when people and groups of people get together, the kinds of things they can build to both reflect their understanding of the world and something that will remain. Um, and so there is this energy of community with this degree and working together to create structures that will last the test of time. And so this first degree of Aquarius was first activated really back in 2020, at the end of 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn came together in their once every 20-year synodic cycle. And that starts a 20-year cycle. It's considered a social cycle and also a financial cycle. So there's more in the energy of Aquarius. There's more about sharing, fair distribution of resources, evening things out with this energy. So that was the first time we got an inkling about this degree. And it was a very important time because it happened at the end of 2020, which was well, 2020 was 2020. It was a bear of a year, as was 2021. And those years before that were pretty bearish as well, from 2017 on. In fact, I bring up 2017 because 2017 was a 1 vibration universal year, it's a 10-1. It was about change. And now we're at the 8 year of that cycle. And so this is a cycle of manifestation. This is as you sow, so shall you reap. So if you've been putting your energy in the right way into the world, you're going to get rewards from this vibration of this year. This is a year of both instant manifestation and reaping what you've sown. So we have Mercury ingress into Aquarius, and then we have a conjunct Pluto. Pluto is about power, and Mercury is the power of the mind. But because Pluto is somewhat the toll taker before you can get into Aquarius, it's like the price of admission. You have to change something. So there might be some ideas, things that you need to change your mind about. Now, this for you is your 11th house. It's your 11th house of networks and groups. It's new goals. It can be friendships. So you might, have to give up a friendship, or you might have to accept a friendship that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. There's some sort of change that needs to happen. On the 7th, Venus makes a trine to Uranus. Venus still in Capricorn, trining Uranus. Now, Uranus here is in the 2nd house. Venus is in the 12th house. There's a flow of energy. Did I say 12th house? I'm in 11th house. There's a flow of energy between these two energies. And so we can actually free ourselves from a relationship maybe that is stultifying, or we can change the way we relate to something because it's Venus. It could even be a new love coming in that's different from anybody else you've ever loved. Uranus opens us up to sort of out of the box ideas. And so you might even have some ideas that were very precious to you that are easier to change now than they have been. On the same day, Mars makes that trine to Neptune, which I talked about, spirit in action. On the 8th, the Sun makes a last quarter square to Uranus. The Sun, of course, in Aquarius, Uranus in Taurus. This is a crisis in belief, a crisis in consciousness, a reorientation. This is about taking responsibility for yourself and moving in a more progressive direction. Like the blame game is gone. You can't be blaming other people for your problems. You need to take responsibility If the responsibility is yours, you're the only one who can fix the problem anyway, right? But it is an energy of rebellion. So you can feel rebellious, which you know all about, and uh, starting to believe or starting to go by your own experiences in certain subjects that are working for you as opposed to what other people are telling you what to do. There is a little guilt around these squares, but Aries doesn't usually work well with guilt. It's less of an issue for you generally. But there's other things in your chart. So if you're feeling guilty, it's okay. You can let go of what no longer serves you without guilt. Um, on the 9th, we have the new moon in Aquarius. That is your 11th house. So this is a time where you might want to start a new group, maybe a new class, group of people, like-minded people. Maybe you want to do something on the computer, or maybe you are already doing stuff on the computer and you want to start like interacting with other people who have channels, different things like that. That would be very helpful at this time. You're building it's like building a tribe to help support everybody, right? Support everybody. It is the beginning of the year of the wood dragon. The year of the dragon is the only symbol that is not, that's a mythical being. It's the most powerful of the Chinese symbols. And it is wood dragon, and wood is about growth. So here's another indication that this is a year of growth and manifestation. Um, on February 10th, Mercury makes a last quarter square to Jupiter. Mercury deals with your reasoning mind, where Jupiter deals with your intuitive mind. And they're kind of at cross purposes with each other. But if you're going to trust one thing or the other, trust your intuition, because first of all, it never lies to you. You can talk yourself into almost anything with your mental body. But your intuition does not lie. So go with your intuition on that. Again, it's these last quarter squares. They're rebellious in nature. All the squares have the energy of rebellion this month. All the sextiles have the energy of moving in a more progressive humanitarian direction. Okay. On week 3, on the 13th of February, oh, did I? Oh, I said that. Week 3, the 13th of February, Mars ingresses into Aquarius. This is important because Mars is your ruling planet. Now, it's been in Capricorn. It likes being in Capricorn. It's exalted in Capricorn, and now it moves into Aquarius. Now, it's not one way or the other with Aquarius. It doesn't mind being in Aquarius. It functions just fine. It tends to function more on a mental level because Aquarius is an air sign, and so there's more maybe thinking involved, which for an Aries is a little bit different of a thing, because Aries mostly go by instinct. But this time it's about thinking about it, and not just thinking about it, but thinking about how your actions affect others, how it affects the bigger picture, so to speak. And then we have Venus make the sextile to Neptune, as I said at the beginning, part of, bringing compassion and love and humanitarian help to those who need it. But on the 14th, we have Mars conjunct Pluto. That happens every 2 years. And this is an opportunity for that which is unconscious in the soul to be made conscious through the actions of Mars. And it does have an influence as to what degree this happens at. And of course, it's that same first degree uh, of Aquarius. So it's almost as if this particular conjunction sort of starts the ball rolling on going in the direction of that more Aquarian, humanitarian, raising all boats kind of energy. There's more energy for that than there is for power over, which would be more of a Mars and Capricorn energy. On the 16th, Venus moves into Aquarius. Mercury makes a last quarter square to Uranus. Mercury is, again, the lower mind, our logical mind, our thinking mind, and Uranus is our higher mind. It's also our future possibilities, our past, and our past lives. And so with this square, We can get triggered a little bit by something, past life issues, past issues come up, things that you hadn't remembered. Now you suddenly remember, and it can cause some crisis. So be aware of that as Venus moves into Aquarius. There can be some other crises going on that don't necessarily have anything to do with Venus. The next day on the 17th, Venus makes its conjunction to Pluto, just as all the planets who moved into Aquarius must pay the toll. But Venus and Pluto have a very interesting relationship. I wouldn't call it love-hate necessarily. I would call it obsessive at times. Um, but and there's a drive, and Venus is the planet of love. And when you conjunct it with the planet of power, in the best possible way, it could be the best possible thing. And in the not so best possible way, it can be obsessive relationships, control issues, all of that stuff. I can't live without you kind of stuff. So be aware of that. There's always like a dark side to this stuff as well. But it is a point of beginning, and this cycle between Venus and Pluto does last a year. It's not like Mars. Mars takes 2 years to finish the cycle. So by the time we're halfway through the Mars cycle, we're into another Venus cycle. At least that's true of this year. Sometimes it's not always true, but this year it is. And so this is about really sort of connecting with love as a powerful force for change. Week 4, February 18th, the sun ingresses into Pisces. So now the sun is moving into your 12th house, your Pisces house. This is a time sort of power down a bit. The time that we have the personal planets in Pisces, the personal planets being the sun and Mercury and Venus and Mars, is a time to sort of power down your energy a little bit, and sort of go into that liminal space, and connect with spirit, meditate, go take a sometimes I think Pisces as like going into one of those deprivation tanks, just floating around for a little bit. That's how you can sort of get in touch with your Pisces energy. On this 22nd, Venus and Mars make a conjunction. This conjunction happens in 7 degrees of Aquarius. Sabian symbol for 7 degrees of Aquarius is a child being born out of an egg. It talks about a new sort of mutant that's not connected to the history, or the ancestors, or the old traditional, I hate you because of this, and oh, you did this to me, and you did that to me, and all of that stuff, all of that stuff that actually came up in spades, at the end of last year. A lot of these really old, ancient fights, that need to be let go of. And it's about how we relate to each other. It's not completely let go of the past. We're not there yet, but how we relate to each other. It's as if we're being asked to relate with no history behind it and just sort of be in the moment and relate to each other. And this Venus Mars cycle is a 2-year cycle. So by the time we get to the next Venus Mars conjunction, we're going to be in 2026. On the 23rd, Mercury follows the sun and ingresses into Pisces. Now your mind is in the mysterious waters of Pisces. On the 24th, we get a full moon in Virgo. This is your house of health. You might become aware of a health issue. Definitely take care of it, please. And on the same day, Venus makes a last quarter square to Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter squares are not as traumatic as other squares. You can tend to overdo it with these, overeat, overspend, overindulge in whatever way. Be aware of that, especially because you're being shown something about your health. You don't want to say, "Oh, yes, well, my cholesterol is up. I think I'll have a double dip banana split Sundae cake to celebrate my high cholesterol. Not a good thing, right? Not a good. Week 5, February 27th, Mars makes a last quarter square to Jupiter. Now, we just had Venus make the last quarter square to Jupiter, and it's like, don't overindulge. Mars is also similar to that, but we're dealing with Mars and we're dealing with Jupiter. Jupiter is what you believe, and Mars can be aggression. So we have to be careful at this time, especially as an Aries, that you don't pick a fight, that you won't win, or that you just don't pick a fight. You have to be responsible for yourself. So if there are issues, they're probably within you anyway, and you can work from the inside out on those. February 28th, 2024 is a big day because we have 3, count them 3 conjunctions. One between the sun and that should say Mercury. It says Sun superior conjunction Sun. That should actually be Mercury. So the Sun and Mercury conjoin. Mercury is direct, so it's considered a superior conjunction. It has a little bit more perspective, but Mercury is in the heart of the Sun, and so it does take a little while for whatever idea was fostered at this time, for we can actually start to see what it was. I mean, we see it on the inside, but we may not see it on the outside for a week or so. Mercury then conjuncts Saturn. This starts a year-long synodic cycle. Mercury, of course, is the mind. Saturn is limitations. So we can maybe understand the limitations of the mind with this, or Mercury is also the information gatherer. What information, like Mr. Phelps, what mission is Saturn giving you, Mercury, to go out there and get the information necessary for Saturn? It's like a job interview, and Mercury got the job. Now it has to go out and do what Saturn asked it to do. And then we have Sun conjunct Saturn. This is the start of a synodic cycle of the Sun and Saturn. It's a year-long cycle. They have a special, I know I say this all the time, they have a special relationship. Everybody has a special relationship. Well, actually they do, because the Sun is the center of our solar system and Saturn is the outer edge. It's the last planet we can see with our naked eye. And so it does demarcate the visual world, the actual world that we see, not necessarily what we feel and what we intuit. That goes beyond. Those are extrasensory perceptions that we're talking about. But what's in front of us? Like, what's exactly in front of us? What's the reality of the situation, right? This all occurs at 10 degrees of Pisces, which is interesting because the Sabian symbol for 10 degrees of Pisces is a pilot flying over over ground obscuring clouds. And so when a pilot can't see the ground and they want to land, they have to rely on their instruments, right? It's called, I think, an instrument landing or an instrumentational landing or something like that. And so, well, what does that mean for us? Well, it means our extrasensory perceptions. The key word here is mastery. And so it's about mastering our psychic abilities. And even though this Saturn is about reality, we have to be able to look beyond the reality that's being shown to us to an alternate reality, not a lie, but visualizing what it is that we want to see. What kind of world do we want to see? What kind of world do we want to see? And put the energy in that, and put that in the vision. And you're going to have to meditate. You're going to have to, test your intuitions and listen to the inner voice and the like. So, although I have to say, Aries are pretty good at this anyway. You're a super psychic sign. One thing about Aries is there's very little filters, so it's not like, should I be thinking about that? Where did that come from? Let me think about it. Is that true? Like you think it and you're doing it. So very much Aries is sort of like an open book anyway. In fact, the sign for Aries looks like a book that's been opened, right? And then fell in the water and the pages curled. But it is this opening, right? It's the energy of Aries is an energy of opening, right? So if anybody can psych it's all out, it's Aries. And on the leap day, the 29th, you get one extra day. It's not going to feel like one extra day. Things are going too fast for that. we have Mercury making a waning sextile to Jupiter. Now, back on the 10th, they were arguing with each other between the logical mind and the intuitive mind, but now they're talking to each other, and we're using both our logic and our intuition to raise old boats, to move in a more progressive and humanitarian direction. So this is a really intense and powerful beginning in February. Okay. All right. So let us go to the cards now. Let me stop this. All right. So I did pick a rune card and a crystal ally card. What did I do with them? Hold on 1 second. I think I have it right here. And I did this before. Nope. Where are they? I know I have them here. Oh, here they are. So, this is the crystal Numite. Let me see if I said it right. Numite to use. Numite. Numite. Okay. It is a storm element card. I'll read it to you what it is. And then the rune card is Hagalas. Hagalas. Now, Hagalas Hagalas means hail. And it's a destructive force like hail is. If anybody's been in a hailstorm, you know how it can break all the windows in your car and put dents in it and all that stuff. So it's like an ice storm, right? With these pellets coming down from the sky. But once things melt, it actually creates a fertile ground for growth. So this is sort of a reminder that even in these disastrous situations, the opportunity for rebirth is there. But I will read it from the book. What did I do with the book now? Okay, let me see if I can find the book. I'm getting this from the Book of Runes by Ralph Bloom. It's like kind of one of the original rune books. Let's see, where's Hagalas? I have a necklace with Hagalas around it, and I used to wear it because, that was before I knew. Well, actually, I like the idea of, you know, the nurturance after the storm, or how after a volcano, the earth around the volcano is the richest, and we can grow jungles. It says disruption and elemental power, hail. Change, freedom, invention, and liberation are all attributes of this rune. Drawing it indicates a pressing need within the psyche to break free from constricting identifications with material reality and to experience the worlds of the archetypical mind. This is part of that, the whole thing I spoke about with visualizing, seeing what you see, the disaster in front of you, but being able to visualize that which you want to bring in, right? To keep your mind set on the vision, right? This is a very, very much a visionary time. The rune of elemental disruption of events that seem to be totally beyond your control. Hagalas has only an upright position, and yet it is always operates through reversal. When you draw this rune, expect disruption, for it is the great awakener. And incidentally, Uranus in astrology is the great awakener. And of course, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Perhaps you will experience a gradual feeling of coming to your senses as though you are emerging from a deep sleep. Okay. Says the term radical discontinuity best describes the action of Hagalas in its most forceful. The more severe the disruption in your life, the more significant and timely the requirements for your growth. The universe and your own soul are demanding that you do indeed grow. All right. Now, Numite. Actually, I don't know if that's how you say it. I like saying it that way. All right, let's find Storm Element card here. Storm Element cards usually activate all your chakras, and they have within it all the elements: fire, air, earth, and water, and storm being like the ether. Kind of Storm Element cards are kind of like major arcana when you get them in a reading. All right, it'll be interesting to see what major arcanas you get when we do the reading. All right, just give me a second here. Now, where, oh, Jesus, sorry, guys. Just here we go. New might. Reunion, all chakras. I perceive the oneness beyond all division. New might encourages you to bring together those things in your life that seem irreconcilable. When you are strongly polarized, you may have difficulty perceiving the totality of the situation, relationship, or experience. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm good, you're bad. I'm light, you're dark. I'm spiritual, you're not. All of these perceptions reveal polarity when you perceive the opposite expressions of the same energy. Discover what that energy is, and you'll discover how to bring unity and balance back to the situation. Now is a time to heal what is separate and broken. Where have you burned your bridges? Can you build new ones to reconnect you to those people or situations you have rejected because they embody the other? What do you hate? Can you find a way to understand how you and what you hate are connected? Whether you are rejecting parts of yourself or making you unable to find self-love, Numite is encouraging you to find a way that brings reunion to the situation. Discover the point of balance, the point of unity, and you will have found the highest point of understanding. And those sextiles to Neptune is going to be very helpful with that. And of course, Aries are typically and generally the best reading for everybody concerned, right? So it's true of everybody has to find this place and see in what they dislike the most, what reflects back to them, right? All right. So let's take a look. I'm going to be using the Psychic Tarot by John Holland from Massachusetts. John is in honor of Massachusetts. A lot of really good psychics and mediums and witches here in Massachusetts. Uh, Interesting, right? Because the last people killed as witches happened in Massachusetts. We've hopefully gotten over that silliness and are more accepting. That's the one thing I love about New England is people don't really want to be in your business, which I really like. Okay. All right. We start with trapped in fear. This looks like the Eight of Swords. So there's something you feel trapped in. And of course, as you know, that's all going to change, right? So what's holding you back? What do you feel is holding you back? Why do you feel like you can't move forward? Let's see the challenge. Oh, the solar plexus. This is your right to be the captain of your own ship. Has somebody told you that you don't have the right to yourself? This can also be aggressiveness. So perhaps you've been aggressive in the past and you don't necessarily want to have to come from that place. So you feel like, well, if I'm not going to fight myself out of this situation, I don't think I can get out of it. Let's see what's underneath. The Four of Cups, discontent and boredom. Um, you don't want to be in this position. You're like stuck. There's like definitely a stuckness here. Let's see what's in the past. Material and spiritual prosperity, the six. So this is not, it hasn't always been like this. This is sort of a thing that's happening right now. Huh. See what's in the sky? Ah, moving on. So there's going to be an opportunity for you to move on. It's good. There's going to be an offer for you to move from this place of feeling trapped or feeling bored or feeling um this is very interesting because one thing I can say about Aries is I never get the sense that they're bored or trapped, but everybody can be there. Okay. So what's ahead of you? Firm foundations for this is about what you need to do. Okay, so I think I understand. One of the reasons why you feel like you can't go where you want to go or do what you want to do, it could be around money. Um, you need to move on it. You need to start doing stuff that's going to bring resources in. And then take that hard work and start building a foundation. How it's seen from the outside. It sees that you're mourning a loss of something. You're mourning the loss of something. This is not you're not having an easy time. You're not having an easy time. Things have been really hard. Your domestic situation. Ah, the crown chakra. Listen to spirit. Listen to spirit. We have all those sextiles coming from Neptune. Listen to what spirit has to say. You need to open yourself up to the divine. You need to open yourself up to your divine self, your connection with God, Goddess, all that is. That's going to be the key. Hopes and fears. Spiritual strength. Spiritual strength. Do you have the strength? Yes, you do. End of story. Ten of the Wheel of Fortune, destiny. It's changing. I'm telling you, it's changing. This, whatever this is that you have, is a temporary lull, and it's all changing. By the end of the month, it's all going to be different. We have the base chakra here underneath it all. So this is your foundations, your security, your money. You're going to feel stabilized in a way that you don't feel right now. We have the Tower card. This is called disruption in this card. And the Seven of Deception. Deception and envy. This is the Seven of Swords. Oh, might have to pick some more cards on this. What is the disruption? Let's keep picking. Hope. The Star card. And the Six of Cups. Memories of love. Hold on. I'm going to just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do another reading right on top of it. This will be the primary card. So the root chakra. The challenge is instability. This is like we're in it, right? We're in instability. Underneath it, deception and envy. Okay, in the past, they were very hopeful. Spirit says, let the memories of love and happiness sustain you. We have harmony coming up in the immediate future. Hopes and fears. Material harvest. Oh, is this hope? No, this how other people see you. How other people see you. Manifested, able to manifest. In the domestic situation, you have to choose wisely. Okay. Hopes and fears, partners and alliances. You're not alone in this. You're not alone. You're if you think you're alone, you're deceiving yourself. And the outcome, third eye, utilizing your intuition. So I feel like any issue that you have that is sort of lower chakra issue, solar plexus, which is your will, wanting to get something done in the way that you get it done, your root chakra, uh, your survival instincts kick in. I think what these cards are trying to say is that no matter how it looks, you can depend on spirit. You can depend on your intuition. You can depend on your connection to spirit. You are not alone in this. You are not alone. And you got to get over that. Got to get over that idea because there are angels and there are people and there are waiting to help you. You just have to get over your ego and ask for help. Get over yourself. I don't know who that was meant for, but boy, oh boy, that was pretty strict. All right. Well, again, I mean, I guess that's Numite, right? Numite. What do you hate? Who, like it's just part of you. Ultimately, you got to get out of your fear. It's like your fear is there's two options. There's fear and love. Fear keeps you trapped. And love shows the way. And that's what it's saying. You have to love. There are people who want to help you. You have to feel worthy of that at some level. And even if you don't feel worthy of that, people want to help you. So let them, Aries. You know, I kid my husband, I call him the self-cleaning oven because he rarely asks for help. Um, so don't do that. Don't be a self-cleaning oven. Ask for help because there's plenty of people who want to help you. And it's not going to be because you're weak or you're not strong enough to do it on your own. It's just we're better together. We're better together. And I think we're learning that. Remember, Chiron right now is in Aries, and we're all learning this lesson that we're better together. So that's the story, Morning Glories. All right, guys, have yourself a wonderful month. Like and subscribe if you would. If you'd like to learn astrology with me, you can. I'm doing a beginner's class. I actually have two options for that. I have a Monday night starting the 5th of February from 7 to 9 for 6 consecutive Mondays, or you can take the class on Saturdays, noon to 2, 6 consecutive Saturdays. That starts on the 3rd, and all classes are recorded. And so you have, even if you can't make all the classes, you get all the classes. And this is my favorite class to teach. I love beginner's astrology. It's a really good idea to get a good basic understanding of how to work with astrology. It can be very complex and quite the onion to unravel. But if you get the fundamentals down and you get the basics and the reason why they're the basics, which I think I teach well, it'll open up a whole new world for you. I'm telling you, my life changed when I found astrology, or when it refound me, because I was probably an astrologer before. When things just feel right. Yeah. All right, guys, take care. Have a great month. And I'll see you again next month. Take care, everyone. Namaste.